Well, we are all getting set tonight. Round of 32 game happening at Arrowhead Stadium. And we got the approval from our next guest, Andrew Guiliani, to call it Arrowhead Stadium. Even he knows, hey, it's Arrowhead Stadium. And he's here on KCMO. He's just landed in Kansas City, joining us on 95.7 FM, streaming as always on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Of course, he's running the entire World Cup for the President of the United States. Andrew, good morning. As I understand it, you just landed in Kansas City. How's it feel to be back?
I did. It is awesome to be back. I took my picture by the KC Heart over there, ready to go, ready to post that. And, so exciting to see this as, the second to last game here that Kansas City gets the host for this World Cup. It's been amazing. KC has shined so brightly. The country has shined so brightly. We're through 85 of the 104 matches that we're going to play. And the story just has been the world's love affair with the United States of America. From the Netherlands, the Dutch doing their bus here in Kansas City, to the Japanese cleaning up the stadium, to Boston being drank dry by the Scottish. I was actually talking to a pub owner just the other day, and he said literally they drank me completely dry from the top shelf to the bottom shelf, all the beer, and then moved on to the next one. I think the Scottish probably added a couple $2 billion to the New England GDP in their own right. I'm actually passing a Waffle House as we speak, thinking about all of those that got to experience a Waffle House for the first time. What an amazing country we have, and what an awesome time to be able to celebrate American exceptionalism now, one day from our 250th birthday.
Yeah, that's so well said. Last time you were here, of course, we had you in the studio, and I asked you, what did the president say to you? And that was before all of this kicked off a few weeks ago. And basically, to put a PG version on it, it was don't screw it up. It seems like things have gone very well so far. And I don't want to make any of this political. It doesn't need to be. But there was a headline in Politico, I'm sure you saw a few days ago, that said, Democrats in some ways are kind of upset this is going so well. I know there's still a lot left here. But to your point, how much of this should really be, Andrew, just about celebrating America and not about Republican, Democrat talking points?
This absolutely should be about celebrating America. And the truth is, when you look at just what we have to celebrate here, it really, really is amazing. When I've spoken to the president about this, and I paraphrase a friend of mine, somebody named Dave Evans. Now, for those of you that remember going back 20 years ago, the Duke lacrosse team was falsely accused of some heinous charges. You had a prosecutor that politically was trying to get reelected and would not present exculpatory evidence that would have gotten him off. There's a famous ESPN documentary called Fantastic Lies on that. I paraphrase Dave Evans when he came out to the media for the very first time saying, "You have been told fantastic lies about this case." Well, I think many people around the country, and certainly a lot of the international world, has been told fantastic lies by a press that wants to see the United States fail. The U.S. truly is the greatest country that God has ever created. The foresight that our founding fathers had is truly amazing. And you see it now as people are getting their first impressions of the United States of America. They're realizing that this country truly is extremely special. I can only imagine. We're starting to see the economic numbers pour in, and it's amazing. It's 40 to 50% higher than we even projected this to be in the very beginning. And I can only imagine the legacy effect as we look at tourism going into next year, into the next 10 years. It's going to be through the roof.
What has the President of the United States said to you here as this World Cup has gone on the last couple of weeks? What advice, what insights has he shared that you can share with us in Kansas City?
Well, I was with him on Sunday and spoke with him briefly last night, and he's obviously thrilled with the way that it's gone. He understands as well as anybody the blessing of this country, how great it is, and not just what our freedoms represent to American citizens or to those that get to come to the United States of America, but when people come to the United States and they see the freedoms that we have and what that has produced. When President Trump talks about America first, he says it doesn't mean America only. It just means I'm focused on America first. If people see that, people see those freedoms, they can take a little taste of that freedom back to wherever they're going. I'm telling you, the world, Western civilization, our allies will be far better moving forward. This really has been sports diplomacy in action, and it's wonderful to see. As a matter of fact, Pete, I know I'm going to the KC house here shortly, and to see that legacy, to see what that's going to bring to Kansas and Missouri and the greater Kansas City area, I'm excited to look now, years in the future, to actually see what kind of follow-up business the Kansas City area will have because of the great work that was done by Pam Kramer and Maggie Collins and the Hunt family and Governor Kehoe and all those that landed this World Cup for Kansas City.
You're doing a great job, Andrew. Great job. Fantastic job. The best job. That is Andrew Guiliani joining us on KCMO.
I thought I was talking to Pete Mundo. I didn't realize I was talking to Donald Trump here.
Oh, that's great. So what about the Heat today? Like, it's going to be 8:30 tonight in Kansas City when the game starts. And there's this massive heat wave impacting us from Kansas City all the way back to New York on the East Coast. I'm not sure if that's where you just came from, but I saw it's cooler here today, even though it's going to be like 92 than it's going to be in New York. What is the impact, or what impact is this heat having on any games? Are there any games that might be moved around or postponed because of these heat waves?
I spoke to FIFA about it. They said they're planning to play on, and that's why they implemented this hydration break, which, gets jeered at every, I guess it kind of has created quarters for the most part, with the 3-minute hydration break at the 22, 23-minute period of the half there. But it's for these in particular. It's going to be hot. And certainly from our perspective, we're thinking about fans. FIFA's obviously focused on the players and the coaches. We're thinking about the fans. We're thinking about those going out to Fan Fest and really hydrate. I mean, do everything you can. Get some electrolytes in your system. We understand you want to go out there and have a good time, and you might consume an alcoholic beverage or two, or if you're Scottish, a barrel or whatever. But still, drink some water, drink some electrolytes, make sure you're hydrating. Put on your sunscreen if you're fair-skinned like I am. I'm half Italian. Pete, unfortunately, the half I got was the appetite. It wasn't that olive skin tone. So I got to lather on the sunscreen. Make sure you're doing everything you possibly can to be safe today. That's it.
So as you get set here for Kansas City, you landed just now, obviously, just got off the plane moments ago. What's your schedule look like today as people think, all right, Andrew's here. What's he got going on in Kansas City today before the game starts tonight at 8:30?
Well, I know I'm going to the KC house here. I think right now I'm going to the KC house. So I'll do a bunch of different interviews here. None as good as this one, of course. But, look, we have to start it off on a very, very high note, and then we'll go from there. And then I've got a lunch with a very good friend of mine, Todd Crossley, I know, and then there'll be a few different security briefs, which I standard do throughout the day here. So that way we just make sure everything is firing on all cylinders. It's kind of amazing to think we've just gotten by the halfway point of the tournament from a day's perspective. I think we're about 22 days in. We've still got 16, 17 days to go. It's amazing to think about. We have an Olympics right now ahead of us from a time perspective. You think the Olympics is 16 days. We're 16 days from the final. It shows you how long this tournament is. But we're already done with 85 of the 104 matches. There are just 19 matches remaining, and this is the last day where you'll have 3 matches in a day. So from our perspective, certainly there are challenges that exist for us looking and making sure that in light of this heat, law enforcement, that they're well hydrated, that they're able to take this on. They're now starting their 4th week here of these incredibly difficult shifts. So we want to make sure there's no complaints. But we're getting to the point where we're in a really good rhythm, and we just want to make sure more.
Andrew,
around this World Cup.
Andrew, have you talked to anybody yet at FIFA? This is a little tongue-in-cheek, but have you talked to anybody at FIFA about this crazy red card that came down the other day and what can be done about that for Team USA as they try to get past the quarterfinals here coming up next week?
Well, I know there are some discussions. We've looked at this, and I know that at least the FIFA's rule book, it says that this cannot be reviewed. But I can tell you, I got more emails now that the Iranians have left the country. And same thing with Congo in light of the fact that that Ebola is, obviously kind of spreading in Congo and in Uganda these days. I've got more time. And yesterday I actually got more emails about the red card than I probably did about anything else. And so we had discussions with people, we had discussions with U.S. Soccer. I get on anything, but I'm interested to see where this moves over the next 12 to 24 hours.
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance. I mean, there are at least discussions happening right now regarding Team USA, the red card that was handed down, and even though the rule book says it can't be overturned, you're saying there at least have been discussions about potentially changing that.
Well, what I could tell you is I've had conversations with, not just FIFA on this and not just U.S. Soccer, but certainly other task force members. And we find it very suspicious that one of the guys who gave the red card was accused of match fixing a few years ago in Brazil. So, look, we're looking further into that. We ultimately urge FIFA to look further into that, make sure that there is fair play going on the field, because we want to make sure that this is as fair as possible. Don't want to get into too much more than that in particular, but anybody can see that. That is open source. This referee, just a few years back, was accused of giving irregular red cards throughout a match, which is very interesting.
All right. Were you just coming, by the way, were you in New York just now, Andrew?
I was coming from D.C., actually. D.C. for the day yesterday.
Okay, I didn't know I wanted to get an update on what you're hearing about the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift wedding there in New York City. I was there earlier this week. I saw a mutual friend of ours, Sid Rosenberg, who I know you know very well. So I got a little bit of a feel for the wedding, but I didn't know if you had just been in New York City. I didn't know what the vibe was on wedding day in New York ahead of Travis Kelce's, of course, big marriage happening.
I mean, I guess I'm the only New Yorker coming to Kansas City. Generally, I think it's all Kansas City is going to New York today, it sounds like, for this big wedding. It's interesting. I've got a theory on this, and maybe I could be way off, and there's no inside information. But, you mentioned Sid Rosenberg, and I feel like a good little morning show gossip is always fun to throw in there as well. My theory on this is that this is just a complete decoy, that it's not actually happening at Madison Square Garden tonight, that they're off somewhere on some kind of an island somewhere else, and this is the decoy right in the heart of New York City. Again, that's my theory. Call it a conspiracy theory, whatever it is. I'm not on the phone with Travis or Taylor or anybody else on this one, but that's the one I'm throwing out there.
All right. I like a good conspiracy theory. Like you said, it's good morning radio, so I'll take it. Andrew Guiliani here on KCMO. All right, Andrew, what's the thing, the message to Kansas City today? We've got 2 games left, as you noted. We're hopeful that this event is going to lead to, whether it's long-term business investment, tourism, who knows what this could lead to for Kansas City. But the way that this city has embraced this tournament feels very unique. And yes, I'm biased when I say it. But what's your message to Kansas City today? 2 games left. The way this thing has gone so far in this town, what do you want to tell this city?
Just, you guys have been a shining light of what has been the greatest sporting event that, I've ever been a part of. I mean, that I've ever seen. I guess Chiefs fans may argue that one there, but I mean, this really has been amazing to see the United States of America be able to show off American exceptionalism over our first 250 years. And Kansas City has been a shining light, keeping the country together. I look at the great work that the host committee has done, like I mentioned before, from Pam Kramer to Maggie Collins to Governor Kehoe, and it's been really, really fantastic. Congratulations on one incredible tournament. Enjoy the match today. The Colombian fans you're going to see, they are as enthusiastic as anybody, and the Ghanaian fans are well. One of the really cool things of this tournament was seeing the Ghanaian fans, the Ghanese, singing "Sweet Caroline" in Boston, and then "Country Road" at the end of the match. One of the things I never thought I'd see in my life. But that's what this World Cup in the United States of America has done. So kudos to Kansas City.
Awesome. Andrew, enjoy your time here in town. Always appreciate you being here, hyping up Kansas City, and safe travels around the rest of the country here in the weeks to come. Way to go. Great job.
Thanks, my friend.
All right. Great job by Andrew Giuliani on KCMO Talk Radio.